Tevis is where it all began. That's what started endurance riding. It's what kicked the whole idea off, and worldwide it is known as the greatest accomplishment in endurance riding.
It's just special to be able to ask your horse to do that and ask your body to do that. It was wonderful, and you know, even though right now I'm pretty sore and say, oh, I don't ever want to do that again, I'm sure in a few days I'm gonna say, you know what, that was neat, and I do want to do that journey again.
I've told people for years that Tevis was like a drug, and that it's one of those events that once you do it, you either are totally hooked or you'll never touch it again.
Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Dave Poston. I've done 9 Tevises, and I got pulled on several. My specialty was riding ties, and that's how I got involved with the Tevis. I really like the running aspect of and the horsemanship that takes place with a riding tie, and found out about the Tevis and thought this ought to be a cool thing. So in '76, my daughter and I decided to do it. She was 12 years old, I think, and we had to get old Drusilla Barner to sign off on letting her start even. And we had a great time, and I got hooked on it, and for a lot of years, and next thing I know, I got Gordon going and Pat going, and we all started doing the Tevis, and it was a big part of our life, that and the riding tie. Yeah. And basically, like I say, my thing was running also. Like when I did I've never ever ridden a horse through any of the canyons. I've never been on a horse through it. I run down one side, I grab the tail, and I go out the other side. And so I think it was a benefit to me, you know, because I could do that. Yeah. And anyway, that's how I got started, and I loved every minute of it, and had a lot of fun training rides with the last guest, Gordon, here, and with this gal here. We used to go up on a Friday night and get dropped off clear way up around Forest Hill, and we'd ride all through the night to get used to the trail, riding in the dark. And we had an interesting thing one time. We were coming below that. They had a vet check at Echo Hills for a while, and we went across some private property and got to the bottom, and a guy had a shotgun there, and pointed right in my face and said we weren't going any further. Anyway, I won't drag this out. We finally talked our way out of it. Didn't get shot. But I thought we were going to. When we left, this guy was really, really irritated, and I thought I was going to hear a gun go off when we insisted we weren't going back up. He wanted us to go back up the hill and go back to our, you know, where our trailers had dropped us off. And anyway, we went on, and we didn't hear a gun go off, and we made it.
Across the river. So.
And I agree with Pat about the horsemanship part of it. I think that's so critical. Knowing your horse and knowing what the horse is capable of and that kind of thing. I never took a horse on it that I didn't know and understood, and I just feel that's very, very critical. I made a mistake a few times of trying to go too fast, thinking I could run with the leaders, and every time I ended up getting pulled. Whenever I went there, just had a good time, and like Pat, listen to the horse and just go through. I always made it easy. The horse looked as good when I finished as when I started. It was only when I got in this competitive mode where I thought I had to go faster, then I got pulled.
And this guy got me going, doing riding ties, and I'll tell you one thing, I did 2 of them, 40 miles. I've discovered I am not a runner. I am a rider. But I did it and got through them. But I'll tell you one thing, I think every endurance rider out there should do maybe a riding tie of some sort, short, small, whatever. It shows you what that animal is going through in your own internals. I mean, you realize there is a little pain involved, and they don't tell you that, but it's going on in there. And only you can find that out by actually exposing yourself to it and trying to do some of that running. And so I learned to appreciate the horse after doing a couple riding ties. I appreciate what they're going through immensely.
Yes, I'm amen to that. I had the head veterinarian on the Tevis tell me that he felt that everybody should go out there and have to run 10 miles and see what that feels like to be dehydrated or even more. He felt that people would have more apathy for the horse if they knew what that horse was going through rather than getting a little tired and start hitting it or something like that. On the Tevis Cup, my best one was my very first one. How can you top riding a quarter horse that I've been doing gymkhana with, and my daughter, 12 years old, who had a Morgan quarter cross, I think, that didn't done well on gymkhana, and to go to that ride, that extensive ride, and come in with the horses looking like when we started, and to be still checking them in coming into the finish, and to look over and see my 12-year-old grinning from ear to ear that we had done it. That's a big thing in your life, and I'll never forget it. Never forget it. It was by far the best of anything, and I've had some really fun. I rode it with a lot of friends that wouldn't have even been able to do it without me. They borrowed a horse, and we would just go have a fun day and get through it. And but that seeing my daughter, and she was just a baby really, and she did a heck of a job, and the horses looked like when we left Squaw Valley. It was really cool, and you can't beat that feeling, I don't think. My feeling on today, and I haven't ridden it since '90, but when we did it, there was a lot of camaraderie between the veterinarians and us, and the veterinarians, in my opinion, really knew when a horse needed to be pulled and when it should go on. They really were very, very good vets, and they depended a lot on their, well, not a lot, mostly on their experience and their knowledge. And if they asked you to pull out, you know that your horse in trouble. But some little minor thing, in fact, this quarter horse that I rode, the second year I rode it, we didn't pad, and she was real flat soled, and she got a little ouchy, and the vet told me at the first check, he said, she's a little ouchy, Dave. I'm going to watch you all day. When I finished, that horse was not ouchy anymore. We went the whole. And I just think that feeling, the trust in that vet, and the vet trusting me that I wasn't going to go hurt that horse. I think that's a difference in the last times I rode it. It just seemed like everything was more statistics and mechanical rather than the gut feeling of those old veterinarians. In my opinion, I liked it better, and I liked the participation of the crew. We always had a big crew that all felt like when we got in, or Pat or whoever, that they had a stake in it, and they went through with us all day long, and they felt that they had contributed a lot to getting that buckle, and I think now with only a couple of stops, last time I rode it, we didn't hardly even see the crew, just a couple times, and I don't know, to me, that was a big part of it. I would always look forward to seeing that crew, and the fun of it. And we've kind of lost that now. But that's just my opinion. So I'm not saying I'm right, but that's the way I feel about it. I thought it was more fun when we and granted, I understand with the forestry and all the different things that they can't quite do that like we did, Dan, where everybody dragging their trailers in and all that. I realize there's not room, and that is a problem. But I think it was better. For me, it was.
I kind of agree with what he said on most of that stuff. You found you had a better bond with the vets in those days than you do now. There was a matter of understanding more. I mean, I went through some of them. One time I came into the last quarry checkpoint, and on my big quarter horse, and I was running with my daughter that year, and she was on this crazy mare that was nutter than a fruitcake. But, we came in there, and I felt her pull something in the back, a little off, she was not quite there. So we come into the checkpoint, and I think Bob Steer was the vet there. And I said there, man, I said, she she's chasing that crazy mare of my daughter's, and she pulls something a little bit back here. He said, well, trot her out. So I trotted her out. He says, and they all should be a little sore here. Just go. And so we only had 6 miles to go, and they turned her loose, and she was fine at the thing. She just walked it, ended up walking it out. So there's just more of that going on. I mean, there's more. I mean, I came in, I think, Jim Evers. He sat there. I come walking up to the quarry, and they were having horses being pulled left and right because of tying up, because Cool is properly named. It is cool and cool. It always is and always has been. It's cold there. And the horses kind of tie up there if you don't keep them warm. So I come climbing up out of that canyon, and I come into that checkpoint. And here comes Edwards, comes over. He saw me, and he saw my big quarter horse, and he knew. He says, Pat, give me your card. I said, give me your card. Looked at her, trotted her. He says, get out of here. He did not want me hanging out there because he did not want that horse tying up and being in that cold area. So they worked more. I mean, they really helped to push you through so you could complete it, and was more work involved. I mean, nowadays it's like a mechanical thing you're going through, and everything is a mechanic. There's no personal involvement anymore. I mean, and that's the difference that you see a big point of. It's more mechanical than it used to be.
And to add what you're talking about, that very thing at Pointed Rocks, when we had a vet check at Pointed Rocks, Rhonda and I were riding in. That's our daughter, and a guy from Montana had started 11 times and never made it. And we picked him up way up somewhere, and he said, can I ride with you guys? And we said, sure. So we came in there to Pointed Rocks, and Branson was the vet. And it was moonlight,
Yeah.
And Branson steps out and like this, and he's watching us come in. We were trotting. And he just come up, put his hands on my horse and Rhonda's horse a little bit. He said, your vet check is to go over there and get a cup of coffee and a donut and some milk for her. That horse I want to see, the guy from Montana. Yeah. And the poor guy got pulled right there. Yeah. But I'm saying Branson knew just the way those horses were moving and just put his hands on them. And he knew that we were okay, and that one got pulled. I felt bad for the guy. Yeah. But that's how sharp those guys. Yes. And not that the vets now aren't sharp, but he didn't even need a big exam. He knew right away. And he made the right decision. And so anyway, that's exactly what you were saying, and we did have that rapport with the vets, which I think is lost a little bit.
Yeah. When you climb out of Squaw Valley, you climb to the top of there. You're looking at the top of the world. It is beautiful up there. The first 30 some odd miles, I think everybody pays their $400. What do they want to pay just to ride that section? It's beautiful.
Look into American Canyon, and oh my gosh,
it's beautiful up there. Really, it's not like your other hundreds you go to that are in the mountains. You're actually riding the true ridge of that mountain. I mean, you're right on the crest, the top of the mountain. You're like walking, you're looking in two sides of it. You can see a valley over here. You see the valley over here. You've got French Meadows over there, and you got the valley. It's beautiful up there. It's a beautiful ride up there.
Well, and Pat, what about going down the switchbacks? What is more beautiful than that?
Seeing
those horses work down that beautiful mountain, around all, for Devil's Thumb and all that. It's beautiful.
It's a very scenic trail. It really is. Where other ones you get up in the forest and you're just riding in the forest. It's not the same. Tevis, you get views that are just unbelievable. It's beautiful up there. Even at nighttime when you start out on the California Loop and you start dropping, you see that river is just glowing against the moon. It's beautiful. Yeah. And people don't understand how light it, turn their headlights off, turn all that light off. Just run it in the dark. That animal can see perfect. You can see the moon is on the southern hemisphere of the side. You're riding on the northern side of that mountain, so it's shining right on that mountain, and that trail is lit up. It's bright. They don't know what a dark ride is until they've done some other ones. That's bright.
On the top, dropping down and seeing No Hands Bridge down there?
Oh yeah, No Hands Bridge
glows. Take your breath away. What is more beautiful than that? Look, of course, I never ever used a light or anything. I depended on the horse. Then people got all these flashlights and all this stuff, But what is more beautiful than that? When you first come there and you look down there and you say, "Oh, I'm going to work my way down. I'm going to cross that, and I'm going to go up through that beautiful mountains, and I'm going to finish."
The horse even sees it too. You come along there, my horse would sit there and I said, we got to go over here first and make the U-turn before you get down to it. No shortcuts. But they would see it. They knew what it meant. They were going home, and they were it was just it's just bright. People don't know that, man, people need to turn those lights off and enjoy the darkness and then the oneness with your horse at night. It's
It
an
is.
awesome feeling, and you can trust them 100%. It's
Absolutely.
I took some girls out the other night with no moon, and I taught them. They didn't turn their lights on. I sat there. This is what it's like, and I sat there. This is going to be. I said it'll be like this will be like darkness. It'll be like someone turn a light on Tevis night because they run it on the full moon.
Yeah.
So.
But like you say, the glare, the American River down
it's
there.
beautiful.
I mean, you could see that glitter. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how anything could be any more beautiful. Mm-hmm. Really. No.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. Let the idiots go. We ramble too much, Pat. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think they should.
They should.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It really is. I mean, there's a place on it that.
No.
I mean, there's you eat a little dust or something, you know, but.
Not as much as you used to.
No.
Not as much as you used to.
Yeah.
You used to eat a lot more dust than you do
Yeah.
now.
I never thought anything about it. It was
Yeah.
just part of the.
Yeah.
And like I say, even going up Elephant Trunk and all that, you know, I mean, it's just.
It's a
It's just
true
beautiful.
trail
Yeah.
ride. They took a lot of the roads out of it. You get a little more road this year, but normally it's a true trail ride. There is a lot of people that are riding it that are not. You see, they're not really horse people. They're riders, but they're not paying attention to the horse. There's a lot of them that do. I'll admit to that, and so that's where you got to give it to the vets. I think is they're trying. They don't know everybody's. The ones that do know you and seen you there, and have seen you at other rides, they understand that you're going to pay attention to what's going on. But you got vets out there that don't even know who you are. I mean, some of these people that they come from wherever, so they're going to treat everybody just okay, like you don't know what's going on. So you get some of that, and I feel that I've even made some mentions to the Tevis board about that. It was getting a little bit too not in the riders, in the horse. They were actually going against you, not really listening to the riders, because some riders do understand their horses, and then I do understand that some people don't. Because I live with my horses, some of these people, they're renting them or just got them, they don't know them. And so it's kind of gone both ways, where in the old days there wasn't as much of that, and they're not paying these big dollars to rent a horse to come over here and ride. Before, somebody just gave them a horse to ride. I've loaned mine all out free of charge. And so, because I wanted, some juniors to get through it, and I would loan my horses out when someone had one that junior, her horse was bad, and I said, "There, okay, you can ride one of mine," and would get it through. Of course, they have to ride with me most of the time because my horses are kind of like a pack, but I understand that goes on, But in the old days, I think it was more horse people were more aware of their animals. I mean, we were more backyard. I mean, look at we didn't run around in fifth wheel horse trailers that were, mile long and all that stuff. We had a bumper pole trailer and slept in the back of your truck or the back of the trailer. That's what it used to be. I mean, it was down to earth. You lived with that animal. Nowadays, it's
not to
the
interrupt
same.
you, but I know for a fact that a lot of people don't want to spend the time like we did and train and
Correct.
get used to the trail. They want to just go out here and ride 10 miles, mess around out here. They don't want to go out there and spend them 40 miles rides that we did and more, teaching their horse to drink, knowing when the horse is going to drink and all that kind of thing. They don't want to do that now.
Right.
They want to just go there and do the Tevis Cup, and they do not want to pay their dues.
Right.
And granted, a lot of them get through and all that kind of thing, but they just don't. They do not want to. They do not want to spend those hours like we did. And if I was to do it again, I would do the same thing. I would go out there and I would work at it, and I would know or really feel confident that that horse is going to make it, and do all those long Sunday or Saturday rides and get the horse used to it, so the horse will drink, eat on that event, because it's not like a 50 where you can go out and blast it and that horse can't make it 100 miles without some care and some fruit and some water and people do not want to. I mean, I know that for a fact because I talk to them out here on the trail, and they do not want to put that much time in.
into it,
They don't. They would rather, like you say, maybe rent a horse or just do a little bit and then expect the horse to go 100 miles. And
Sometimes it just
I
doesn't
mean, and
work.
I know for a fact that that happens. That people really need to take it serious, I think, and enjoy the training. Rather than it be work. Get out there and enjoy that trail and your horse. And I know for a fact that is happening today. Not with everybody, like you say, but there's quite a few people that do not want to do that hard work, or I would look at it as fun, but
Yeah.
well, is that the most fun thing too? We talk
yeah.
about that beautiful trail,
Yep.
riding up there and looking at those a painted X on that rock, setting that horse up
Yep.
and just going right up it smooth as silk. And again, it's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
You ride up to that thing, you see that beautiful thing, and you know, and again, you know your horse. You set him up nice or her, and you just flow up that thing without missing a step.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and it's a cool feeling, isn't it?
Yep.
It is.
They actually
Go
stick.
across the top and gone. Yeah.
Yep. They stick better than people think they do. They go right up it, and you get
Yeah.
a momentum. You
Yeah.
kind of, I time that big old quarter horse. So I've got pictures of her. She flew over that rock. I mean, literally flew over it. And then I just have to tell the photographers, I says, get ready because she's quick. And the faster you, and people had to learn. You watch some of other people do it. They were still holding on to the rein.
Getting halfway up and then checking the horse in.
You
like
cannot
that.
hold those reins.
that
You
poor
grab.
horse is all
You
out
have to
of
grab a
balance.
hunk of hair right up just behind, right up their pole, and you hang on to that. That keeps you in balance with that horse, and they'll pull you right over the top with it. And that's I sit there. You just wait till the horse up there just before he clears the top. You just turn yours loose because they're just tail chasing then, and they'll fly over it. Yeah, this is about Cougar Rock, about how you should attempt it and go after it. You should just go for it. You sit there to get the first horse, let it get 2/3 all the way up there. When it's up there, then you send yours right in after it. There's a slight turn on it, and you have to remember it's there, and you have to just turn. But you pump them all the way through it. You don't even try to hold them up. It's just a pump. You hang on to a pole, not the reins. All you want to do is they'll turn and they'll go over the top. It's quick. It's about just 2 seconds.
Don't throw your horse off balance
Don't
by
throw 'em
pulling
off.
on their head.
No,
Yeah.
no, let go of those reins. Just hold on to the pole and let them go, and that keeps them in balance and keeps you in balance with them.
I don't know how many people I've seen
Pull them
go,
over.
go part way up there, and I've seen them pull clear over, but rather than letting that horse work, again, get up off its kidneys, get up off its back, and they'll get up there and get scared or whatever.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just a thing of beauty, and it is. It's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, if they pause, you gig them with whatever you got to hit them with them. Say, get your tail to the top. One more jump. All it is usually one more jump, and they're over it. But there's a little pause sometimes because they go up, and then they got to make this little turn. And as they make that little turn, that's when you really gouge them, and you sit there and just send them to the top. So, but Cougar Rock it's a momentum thing, and you want to just push them over it. Don't let them go. But they do have a little bypass if you chicken out.
And it's all part of doing that ride correctly, isn't
Yes.
it? Pat?
They put the bypass in. Some of us still do. I've had every one of my horses over the rock, so they've got the rock pictures. And a couple of times, I think the last time I did go around it. And so sometimes you do there was no bypass when the Thundy, the one that holds the record, she had to fly over it every time. And so because it's only been in there for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. But other than that, you always went over the top. It was I was never afraid of it. I mean, I saw it and you could see the other horse. Okay, you just watch the other one. Help you.
Let me ask
went.
you a question, Pat. Why did they put it in? Were people
I-
scared of Cougar Rock?
I think they were afraid of it or something, or some people were crashing. I don't know why they put it in.
Oh, okay.
I never
Figured you
was.
would.
I didn't ask for it. The only thing I asked for on that whole trail was have water at the top of Devil's Thumb. I mean, Devil's Thumb. That's where I wanted water at the top, and they put water there. I says, if you don't put it there, I'm bringing in 100 gallons of water for my horse because I need water right there, not 2 miles down the road. I need it right at the top. So they have water right there at the top. So that was only my request. When they took the trailers out and they said you can't, no more crewing out there. We're moving it over to Deadwood. I sit there. Well, I need water there. I sit there. You climb that hill. See if you want water there. and so they put water there. So,
But to
they're-
get back to the bypass, was that put in because of complaints, or because of some of the horse people that we've been talking about a little bit that don't want to?
I don't know, because most of the people that come from out of the country, that's what they want, their little picture. That's what they want. So I have no idea.
So we don't know why they put it in.
No.
Yeah.
I personally would never have led my horse over it. I don't think
Oh
I
my
could climb
gosh,
over the
that-
dang
no.
thing myself. I couldn't go climb over it if I wanted to. So
Well,
I know I would never lead
well,
a horse
Pat,
over it or tail
you
it
know,
over it.
Let's face it, I've run half of that race,
Yes.
on foot, and I wouldn't try and lead a horse up that. That'd be the to me.
They'll
that-
probably
that
leap
horse
on
is-
top of you.
Exactly, and they're going to try and get their balance, and they're going to step on you, and you're both going to go. No, that's one thing that I would never. Maybe you might tail it if you had a horse that but to me, the best place is to be on that horse's back and help it keep its balance and go on up over it.
Yeah.
Me personally, I believe in tailing. I tailed every canyon every time I ever did the Tevis. Every one of those, the swinging bridge. Usually, I snuck down there and got the horse cool, came back, and then went across it. And I always I ran down, I'd grab the horse's tail and head right out. Nice. And most of the time, I passed people because I could kind of jog, and the horse didn't have any weight on its back, and they learned to like that. I had a couple of them that when I'd get on, or maybe later, and they'd stop. What the heck are you doing? You're supposed to be tailing on this hill. And so me personally, I've tailed every canyon. Like I say, I've never ridden a horse down. I don't like that. I don't like the pressure on their shoulders. And if you can run, why would you do that? They can just go loosey-goosey behind you. And you don't have to go fast. You could even walk brisk. And that's not for everybody. But I'm saying I felt it was the best on the horse to take the pressure off the front shoulders, and then going up, just grab the tail, and it's really pretty easy. And it's easier, certainly easier on the horse.
I was going to tail. I think I've done a little bit of tailing, but not much. I ride mine down. Well, riding a quarter horse, and one was a cutting horse, and the other one was a roping horse. So they kind of would set up on there, so I could kind of jiggy-joggy all the way down. And going up the other side, the first year I did it on my little Poco Bueno mare, I broke my foot at the start of the ride.
Oh, boy.
So I didn't know it was broken, but I knew it was thoroughly injured. I didn't find out it was broken until 2 days after the ride. But anyway, I knew I wasn't walking, because when I got to Robertson, we changed my tennis shoes, cut holes out of the toes because my toe was smashed. What happened is my horse went down, and when she clambered to get back up, she clambered right over my feet. So anyway, I got back on. I got into Robertson. I changed my shoes, cut the toes out of some old tennis shoes so I could have my toes hanging out, and just laced it up real tight and got back on. I said, well, I think tailing is out now. So, but that little quarter horse mare carried me all the way to the top of all the canyons, so I knew they could do it, because she was only 14 too. So I sat there. So then I rode the other one. She's 16 hands, and I got off of her a couple of times, but not very often. Most of the time, I would be on her, and some people will be dying trying to lead their horses up. I said, hang on to her tail. She'll pull you on up with me on her back. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
So and she, every time I get off of her, she'd start trotting. So I said, well, I'm getting back on you. So I learned to stay on. She only had me. There was one place on just before the switchbacks I had to get off, because it used to be real shelly and straight down, and I would get off, and in fact, she got to a habit where she'd get to the top of that and wait for me to get off her back, and I had to walk down this shelly stuff.
In fact, there was a real loose place there.
And
deep of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I get back on her there and continue. Other than that, I rode them all the way. That's pretty much after I rode the little tiny one, I figured, well, I guess the big one can carry me too. So I always rode them.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, Pat, it's for everybody.
Right.
I'm saying for me, because let's face it, I was running a lot, and for me that was the best way to do it. It wasn't for everybody. No, absolutely not. But
He was a runner.
Yeah.
I'm a rider, and that was the difference. I sit there and watch them do those riding ties, and they go for 5 miles like a deer going across the desert. I sit there, I can't do that. So I knew better. So he was a runner, and he would do it. Though Gordon ran to Tevis, and you
Yep.
didn't.
Yeah. No.
You chickened out.
Yeah. No, I didn't chicken out. You have to
You
talk
just-
to my wife.
Oh, she says no.
She said, I'll crew for all of these crazy things. The riding tie takes a big crew, and the Tevis Cup and all that work. And she said, and I qualified, for the Tevis, for the Western States. And she said, that's one thing I really don't want you to do. And most everybody that does that goes through a divorce. Almost all of my friends went. So I thought that's one thing that I just won't do. And so I never did. I
Well,
never,
you did. You paced him though. You
Yep.
helped him out.
Oh, I paced a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was in an effort to save my marriage. I didn't. And like we were talking about before, that driving those trailers from spot to spot and setting up and getting the water and the food out. Your crew, would really worked very, very hard. I always said riding the Tevis was easier than crewing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my husband at one time had to come back and get me at last chance, and he comes back there. He had your trailer on the back or something. Yeah, he had the 4-horse trailer, and come back there and had to put gas in the truck. Of course, it's hot. Gas exploded all over him when he
Oh,
put
my
the
gosh,
gas.
yeah.
He was not a happy camper coming back to get me. And then some guy had this horse in there that was trying to kick the back of the trailer out as he's trying to pull these horses out. We finally stopped. He says, "Your horse has to get out because this is not my trailer and you can't destroy it." So we dumped him out and he put him in another horse trailer and we came out of there. But that's when, the crews had a rough
They did.
time
They
in the
worked
old
very
days.
hard,
They have
and-
it easy these days.
Yeah.
The crews had a rough time in the old days. They
Yeah.
have it. They think they have it rough now. They don't. They have it easy. Though in fact,
No, they did. They
the
really worked
crews
hard.
I use, I have a bumper pull trailer, so I'm able to. I use my trailers used as a transport trailer, so it can go into the checkpoints because my crew are non-horse people.
Yeah,
they're
that's true. Yeah, that's
they're
true.
hot rodders,
Yeah.
and so they move the equipment, and so I call them. They're my equipment movers. They don't crew the horse. I have to do all the horse stuff, but at least they get my equipment there so I can do it. And
But
there's only
don't
two
you think,
times.
Pat, that the people that before, like I say, when we first were starting, well, a long time, don't you think the crew had a pretty big stake in us making it?
Yes.
I think they felt when we came into the fairgrounds that there was a piece of them finished
Right.
with us. I'm
Because they were a part of it before.
Yeah, they
and
absolutely were,
They're
yeah.
not as much of a part of it nowadays. No.
boy, did we windbag them to death.
Yes.